Discover the top 10 most terrifying abandoned places in the world, from schools filled with dismembered animals to an island dedicated to dolls and a lighthouse haunted by a grieving ghost. Watch if you dare. Number 10. Jazzland, New Orleans. This place used to be a source of fun and excitement, but now it's a place of misery and despair. The amusement park first opened in 2000 and was later purchased by Six Flags in 2002. Six Flags transformed the park into a Mardi Gras-themed attraction with various rides and roller coasters. Tragically, Hurricane Katrina struck the park in 2005 and caused immense damage, leading to the park's abandonment. The city now owns the property and plans to replace it with a mall. Although trespassing could lead to arrest, many photographers still visit the park for its eerie atmosphere. Another abandoned amusement park is Holy Land, USA. The park, which spanned an area of 18 acres, was designed around biblical stories and featured chapels, crosses, and catacombs. It was most popular in the 1960s and 1970s, with 40,000 visitors per year. Sadly, it closed for renovations in 1984 after the owner's death, and it has remained unused since. A group of nuns have cared for the park over the years, but it has continued to deteriorate over time. The park's crumbling statues, dark structures, and vandalism make it seem like a place to avoid. In 2010, a murder occurred on the park's deserted grounds. Number 9. Anderlecht Veterinary School. This is another medical institute, but this time for animals, that is downright disturbing. Although made up of beautiful architecture, the inside looks like something straight out of a horror film, making even the bravest weak at the knees. Anderlecht was abandoned in 1991 when the school moved to Liege, standing desolate since then amidst the crumbling halls. You'll find rooms appropriately named horror labs, which contain old hand-blown bottles with questionable fluids, rusty syringes, medical tools that litter the floors, and jars lined up on shelves containing animal heads. Some jars even have different animal parts sewn together. Perhaps the building crew is too terrified to even go near the place. Number 8. Beelitz Heilstatten Military Hospital. This building, formerly an infirmary, was constructed in the 1800s as a response to the widespread outbreak of tuberculosis in the area. However, during the World Wars, it was repurposed as a military hospital equipped with a Red Cross, where it accommodated up to 1,525 patients. The hospital and its surroundings were under the control of the Soviet Union until its dissolution in the early 1990s. Since then, the majority of the site, which consists of over 60 buildings, has been left to decay, despite some parts having been carefully restored. This has contributed to its eerie atmosphere, and it's possible that it will be demolished in the future. This place has undoubtedly witnessed its fair share of death, despair, and insanity. Urban explorers have reported still being able to detect the lingering scent of disinfectant in the halls and operating rooms. Additionally, it has served as a filming location for movies like The Pianist and a music video for Rammstein. Number 7. Discovery Hut, Antarctica. Built in 1902 by the Antarctic Exploration Team, this hut has been untouched for over 100 years, frozen in time. In most cases, this building would have deteriorated entirely, but due to the freezing conditions, the building with everything inside has been left in immaculate condition. The inner walls are lined with felt insulation, but this proved to be highly ineffective. It was known that expedition members preferred to sleep in tents outside, as it was easier to keep warm than inside the hut. Although the dry frozen climate has had a freezer effect on the hut, bacterial and fungal decay reportedly still occurs, creating a terrible rancid smell. Food still remains in the pan on the cook, stove, and seal carcasses, blubber and skeletons hang on walls. It's a place surely to send chills up your spine. Number 6. Hashima Island, Japan. Hashima Island, also known as Gunchanemon, is a well-known location among James Bond fans, as it served as the inspiration for the villain's lair in the 2012 film Skyfall. However, on any regular day, it appears to be something straight out of a dystopian, apocalyptic world. In the past, the island was inhabited by thousands of workers who worked at a coal mining facility. As mining in the area declined in the mid-1970s, the facility ceased operation and the island gradually became abandoned. The buildings on the island were constructed of concrete to withstand the elements, particularly typhoon damage. However, since they have not been maintained, many of them have collapsed over the years, leaving the site full of rubble and decay. As a result, it has been deserted and desolate, left for Mother Nature to take its course. Number 5. Isla de las Muñecas, Mexico City. This place is also known as the Island of the Dolls. The story goes that a former caretaker of the area found a girl that had drowned and later found a doll floating nearby. Assuming it was the girl's, he hung it up on a tree as a sign of respect. As time went on, the caretaker was said to have been haunted by the spirit of the girl and continued to hang more dolls to appease her. According to those close to him, it was as if he was driven by some unseen force that completely changed him. After 50 years of collecting dolls and hanging them on the island, the caretaker was supposedly found dead, drowned in the same spot as the drowned girl. The small island is home to hundreds of blank-eyed figures, some with severed limbs and decapitated heads. Local legends says that the dolls move on their own accord and even open their eyes, and some have claimed to have heard the dolls whispering to each other. I think I'll pass. Another location known for its doll-like creepiness is out of the famous doll factory in Spain, which seems to be something out of a nightmare. The place is said to be haunted with disembodied heads covering production lines abandoned since the 1980s. Strangely menacing mannequin torsos stand on floors. Amid dust cover, rusty machinery, grime covers furniture, and also dead chickens have been found to litter the premises, with it being suggested that they were ritual killings, with some even hung up on crosses. Number 4. Pripyat, Ukraine. The Chernobyl disaster, the worst nuclear explosion in history, occurred near the northern Ukrainian ghost town of Pripyat. This area is marked by destruction, disruption, and profound sorrow. One account from the disaster describes how residents of Pripyat watched from a bridge as the flames from the reactor drew closer, with everyone on the bridge receiving a lethal dose of radiation, leaving no survivors. As a result, this bridge has been dubbed the Bridge of Death. Pripyat could have been a bustling city with tens of thousands of residents, but due to radiation hazards, it has remained uninhabited. The town now stands abandoned, with homes, schools, kindergartens, and fairgrounds left to deteriorate, occasionally visited by passing tourists. Number 3. The Maunsell Sea Forts, England. During the Second World War, the British Royal Navy constructed a series of sea forts for an advanced line of defense against inbound air raids and potential sea invasions from the Axis powers. Given the name the Maunsell Sea Forts, they still stand in the ocean to this day, silent and abandoned a few meters above the North Sea. One, however, remains inhabited and has now been given a title of its own, referred to as the Principality of Sealand. But seriously, why anyone would want to live near these creepy, abandoned structures is beyond me. Number 2. Boon Island Lighthouse, France. Lighthouses often have an eerie aura due to their remote locations, and many, like those featured in this video, are now abandoned and automated. Among the most haunted and tragic is the Boon Island Lighthouse, which is linked to the sad tale of Kathleen Bright. After marrying the lighthouse keeper, Kathleen moved to the lighthouse, expecting a blissful married life. However, things took a turn for the worse when her husband fell ill just a few months later. As a storm raged outside, Kathleen cared for him until he passed away. Overwhelmed by shock, she climbed the 168 steps of the lighthouse non-stop for 5 days to maintain the light. Without food and minimal sleep, she eventually collapsed. On the 6th day, the light went out, and when locals investigated, they found Kathleen wandering aimlessly, starved, exhausted, and delirious with grief. Fishermen in the area have reported seeing Kathleen's ghost and hearing eerie wailing from the lighthouse at night. There are tales of a guard's dog chasing a white apparition and 2 lighthouse keepers who were terrified when the light turned on by itself while they were outside. Another notorious lighthouse is the Armen Lighthouse, located at the west end of Brittany, known for its perilous conditions and fittingly dubbed Hell of Hells. The thought of spending a night here during a storm is particularly chilling. Before I reveal the most remarkable example, I'd like to remind you to subscribe. If you've enjoyed this video, we upload daily videos filled with fascinating facts. Also, don't forget to click the bell icon to stay updated, or you might miss out on some incredible knowledge that could enrich your mind. Now let's continue. Number 1. The Domes, Arizona. These structures may look like flying saucer replicas from the 50s, but they were actually built by an electronics company in 1982. The company intended to utilize their unique design to help with insulation and make them cheap to construct. However, the project was abandoned a year later, and the site was later discovered to be contaminated with groundwater after the company failed. The buildings have since become famous for their neglect and eerie appearance, causing many people to describe them as spooky and unsettling. In 2006, new owners purchased the buildings, but nothing has been done to refurbish them, and it is unclear who would be willing to buy them. Rumors have also circulated that the building's unusual design and placement were intended for satanic worship, but this has not been confirmed. Another set of spooky domed buildings can be found in the 10,000 Islands of Collier County, Florida. These were originally constructed as a vacation home by a retired oil producer, but were abandoned after a storm. Since then, the elements have battered them, making them unsuitable for habitation. While they may be situated on a dream island, it is best to stay far, far away. Which of these two structures is the spookiest? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.